Hi, so this is the Georgia National Guard Fencepost Podcast. I am Captain Amanda Russell, your host for today, and we have Leslie Chandler. She is the Integrated Primary Prevention Program Director, I3PO. And we're actually going to open in with a wellness exercise since this podcast is going to be on wellness.
Great. Well, hey, Captain Russell, it's great to see you. So, yeah, I thought it might be fun to kind of think about, oftentimes we're just stressed. We find ourselves in stressful situations with a lot of different things coming at us, a lot of requirements of maybe our unit or our civilian work. And so sometimes we just need to take a pause and just have a kind of a mindfulness moment, if you will. So what I would just love everyone to do before we get started, and we'll start with you. I'm looking at you, Captain Russell.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want you to just sit with your feet on the floor. Go ahead and put both your feet on the floor, and go ahead and just put your hands on your legs. And just, you can either close your eyes or just sort of gaze sort of downward, not focusing on anything, but just kind of relaxing your gaze. And at the same time, you just want to lengthen your back a little bit. And you're going to take a really deep breath. You're going to breathe in very deeply. If you can do it through your nose, that's great. If you need to do it through your mouth, that's fine. But you're just going to take in that breath, and you're just going to kind of hold it for a moment. And as you're holding that breath, you just want to recognize how your body's doing. Are there places in your body that are stiff? Do you feel pain somewhere? And of course, by now you want to be letting that breath out, so go ahead and do that. Go ahead and just... And as you breathe out, all those places that you felt tense or pain, just sort of let that go. You use your mind to just really let that go. And then go ahead, settle yourself again, change your posture if you need to, and then do another deep breath in. Just a good, strong inhale. And then hold it for a moment as you recognize what's going on in your body, and just release it out again. And each time you do that, you should feel your body a little bit more relaxed. And so you can do the breath in one more time, back out one more time, and then just go ahead and relax your body, but open your eyes. Just kind of look up, look around, and just notice if anything feels different in your body after this was about 30 seconds of a mindfulness and breathing activity that you can literally do anytime.
Just by doing that, I feel more relaxed and just aware of what's going on in my body.
Right.
I love it.
That's a win.
Yes.
We're finished. We'll see you later. Talk to you next week. No, just kidding. But that's just a simple wellness tip or a tool really that we can use anytime. And I love to open classes with that. I'm a chaplain on the M-Day side.
That's right,
So
yes.
I talk with soldiers a lot, and I try to open just about anything I do with something like that, just to get your mind in the right space to hear what we're talking about or hear what I'm saying, and be able to just really be in the space that you're
Absolutely.
in. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. I will definitely be using that more often. Okay. Well, first of all, would you just kind of introduce yourself? You kind of mentioned already you are the chaplain on the M-Day side, but what else do you do for the Georgia National Guard?
Okay, well, great. Thanks for asking that. So my job has kind of changed in the last few months. So before, I've always been an M-Day chaplain. So I'm the 78th Troop Command Chaplain. I'm Chaplain Chandler. So I work with the 78th Troop Command on the M-Day side. But before I became the Integrated Primary Prevention Program Director, I was the State Family Program Director. So I've worked with soldiers and families, airmen and families, pretty much my whole career in the Guard on the full-time side. I just do it as a technician on the full-time side, and then as a chaplain on the M-Day side. So I really, my interest really does lie in taking good care of our service members and their families. So this was a great position for me when General Cardin asked me if I would come and do this job. I couldn't think of anything I would rather do than serve our service members and their families.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about how this all came about, and why do you think this program needed to be implement it within the organization?
Right. So, maybe I'll just start by saying what we actually do. So the Integrated Primary Prevention Program Office, we actually execute the National Guard prevention strategies, and that sounds kind of big and very overwhelming to think about it. But ultimately, what it means is we just make sure that our prevention process is as known as our response process. So we spend a lot of our time with a lot of programs dealing with response to harmful behaviors like suicide or sexual assault or family violence, domestic abuse, bullying. We spend a lot of time and energy and a ton of money on programs that are response driven. So what we're really interested in doing with the prevention program is kind of getting ahead of all of those. So we're interested in the conditions that lead to harmful behaviors. We're interested in kind of changing the culture of the military so that we're doing less responding and we just spending more time being resilient.
Absolutely.
Right?
Something more proactive.
It's a much more proactive approach to harmful behaviors.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we do, and ultimately what's going to happen in that we'll have healthy climates in our organization, and we have some really great programs out there already that are response programs, and I like to call it I3PO because it's just easier than all of the prevention program office words. The whole point of I3PO is to integrate all of the programs that we currently have and make sure we're using the right programs at the right time, the right tools at the right time, the right resources at the right time, and that also our soldiers actually know what they are. Because I feel like that's a real shortcoming we have. I talk to people about different programs all the time or different resources, and I'll say, well, do you know about the Military Family Support Branch? And they're like, no, what's that? Well, it's really a big deal because their whole job is to take care of you.
Exactly.
Right. So
Yes.
so hopefully with the implementation of this program, we really will get the word out that we have great resources in our state, that our state cares about our service members and our families, that our leaders genuinely want our formations to be healthy and strong,
Right,
and not just
right.
healthy and strong when it comes to the ACFT, but healthy and strong mentally and yes, physically, but also, when we talk about H2F in a few moments, the domains are sleep readiness, right? Their spiritual readiness, their nutrition readiness, and then physical and mental readiness. So I think it's important for the service members to know that our leaders at the senior level genuinely want.
Right. So since you
Yeah.
brought up the H2F, because I know we use FM-7-22
Yeah, FM
all the time
722.
just for the ACFT, but
We do.
what are the other ways we can use it besides just the ACFT? Like you mentioned, there was five domains.
There are 5 domains, and
Yes.
I'm glad you asked. And I actually brought, if you hear pages turning, it's because I actually brought chapter 3 of the 7-22 with me because I think it's important. I mean, we have some really great guidance out there for caring for our whole soldier, and FM 722 is holistic health and fitness, and we have some really great guidance out there, but not necessarily, we haven't implemented it as well as we could. And I'm really hoping when we're thinking about the prevention program, one of the things that we want to do is actually build on tools that we already have. Like we want to
Exactly.
utilize tools that we already have. I don't need to create a whole new program for prevention when we have really outstanding tools already in place. And I think that FM 722 is one of those things. And so Chapter 3 is really just a discussion of all the domains and what they mean. And I'd love to just kind of read through. Again, I've asked soldiers in multiple settings if they know what FM 722 is, and most of them say no. So we'll just start with physical readiness because it's the one we talk about all the time. But it's the ability to meet the physical demands of any duty or combat position, move lethally on the battlefield, accomplish the mission, and continue to fight, win, and come home healthy. So that's the physical readiness. But then nutritional readiness is the ability to recognize, select, and consume the requisite food and drink to meet the physical and non-physical demands of any duty or combat position, accomplish the mission, and come home healthy. But I think it's important when we talk about nutrition, because oftentimes, especially in the military, we talk about nutrition in terms of, am I dieting enough to pass the height and weight? And that's really not what nutrition readiness is about. The nutritional readiness is really about eating the right foods and drinking the right amount of water at the right time to be, well, for lethality is what the terminology says in the FM, but also just so that so that our minds are alert. Right, the right foods at the right time, the right amount of water. It makes your mind alert. Right. So it just helps us to be more complete soldiers on the battlefield or in life. Right.
Exactly.
And then, of course, mental readiness, the ability to meet the mental demands of any combat or duty position, meaning here or somewhere else, adapt successfully in the presence of extreme risk and adversity. And don't we all have extreme risk and adversity pretty much every day in our lives? I can give you like 5 things that happened today before I came in here that felt a little bit like extreme risk or adversity, and also accomplish the mission and to continue to fight and win. And then one of my favorites, of course, spiritual readiness. I think that's pretty important as a chaplain on the M-Day side.
Absolutely.
But it includes the development of the personal qualities needed to sustain a person in times of stress, hardship, and tragedy. And honestly, that can be every day. You know, the thing that I love about FM 722 is it's not really just talking about us only in uniform. It's talking about us as humans.
Exactly.
It's about realizing that our service members aren't just a uniformed force that is going to go out and fight and win America's wars, which we are, but we also are living, breathing. We have families. We have financial issues. We have the issues of life just sort of surrounding us all the time. So back to spiritual readiness, these qualities come from religious, philosophical, or human values and form the basis for character, disposition, decision-making, and integrity. And don't we want that foundation for every single one of our service members? And then the final domain is actually sleep readiness. And I'm actually delighted that they added sleep readiness, because I really think that sleep is one of the things that we probably disregard the most as something that's important. But it says sleep is the critical requirement for brain health and function. Sleep readiness is the ability to recognize and implement the requisite sleep principles and behaviors to support optimal brain function. In turn, sleep readiness underpins a soldier's ability to meet the physical and non-physical demands of any duty or combat position, accomplish the mission, and continue to fight and win. And I know, we go to the field and we are definitely sleep deprived.
Oh, yeah.
They're testing our sleep skills. They're testing our ability in that domain. But really, sleep is really critical for daily function.
Yes.
So I think it's I'm just delighted, I guess I'll say, that they included sleep as one of the domains of holistic health and fitness.
Because that is how your body's supposed to recover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So.
and we can't really. These domains are really domains of just healthy living in general.
So, are we the only state that's implementing this program?
No, actually, Georgia is. So all of the 54 states and territories are going to have a prevention program, an integrated primary prevention program. Georgia was one of the first states to launch, because Georgia's the tip of the spear. We launch things first because we're a great state. We have the best soldiers and airmen and civilians anywhere, and so we get to be one of the first states to launch it.
Absolutely. And was this directed for us to, like, this is
Yes, it was actually
mandatory?
it was mandated through Congress, and we've got lots of instructions and we have a lot of guidance, but ultimately there was the Secretary of Defense did an independent review, and they determined that we we're responding more than we're preventing. So they put their money where their mouth was, and they actually created this program, but also gave the states funding for it.
Was there any other topics you'd like to discuss or go over about your program?
Actually, one of the things that I think I would like to talk about is something that we've received since we started the program, and we just really started the program in August. And I just came on board in December when I came back from the border mission. But as I put information out about the program and get to meet new people, we've really been able to connect with a lot of different organizations, both in the community and in the military community. And I was able to apply for and receive grant money for a program called Comprehensive Health and Wellness. And this program it's based on functional fitness and motivational interviewing, which maybe we'll do another podcast later and I'll tell you about motivational interviewing. But really the whole benefit of this program, though, is, a lot of times soldiers can't go to AT during the annual training times. And so what we end up doing is they do an alternate AT, but usually it's just sitting in the armory, doing some work, maybe doing some paperwork for the readiness NCO, just kind of doing some work to do annual training versus the training that they might have been doing at Fort Stewart or one of the other locations that we do annual training. So what we're planning to do with this money is create a comprehensive health and wellness leader course where instead of a week of AT, if someone needs an alternate AT time, they'll go for a week and we'll do functional fitness every day, but also during that week we'll teach motivational interviewing, and we'll teach some leader skills. We'll teach compassionate communication, which is really important for us as leaders, and not something that you usually hear when you're thinking about the Army. You don't always think about compassionate communication.
Not at all.
But it's just a really great tool for understanding what's going on in the lives of our soldiers. So I'm really excited, and hopefully you'll be seeing soon to come, like in theaters near you, a comprehensive health and wellness leader course that we can both have leaders attend, even in a different type of status, not just I need a break, I need a different AT week. So I'm very excited about that, and as I have more information, I'll share more information, but we did get the funding for it. So that is more to come.
Awesome. Okay. Well, looking forward to that coming down the pipeline. So if anybody wanted to reach out and maybe get some of these wellness tips or reach directly out to you, how can they do so?
Well, of course, I'm easy to find. I'm in Global, leslie.m.chandler. 3.mil@army.mil is where I am online or in email. The one tip that I would love to share is an app called the CBTI Coach. It's a U.S. Department of Affairs app, and it's actually a sleep app. It just gives all these great tools for sleep because, like I said, when we talk about the domains of holistic health and fitness, sleep is probably the domain that we neglect the most, or where soldiers have the most trouble. And so I've spent some time on that app, and I think it's a really great sleep tool. So again, it's the CBT-I Coach, and it says right on the App Store, just U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. It's free, and it's a great tool just for maybe everyday use and in terms of sleep.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. I thank you so much for coming and sharing this wellness podcast with us. Thank you for tuning in to the Georgia Guard Fencepost Podcast, where you can find us every first Friday of the month on all of your major podcast streaming platforms. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Georgia National Guard.